There he is. A big voice lets you know it's Tuesday. For Saskatchewan Lotteries, main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in our province. I was just looking. Kind of a light go sports select-wise because there's not much going on, but there is the Major League All-Star Game this evening. 3 hours for you. Give you a rundown of what's coming up on the program. We're going to get an injury update from Saskatchewan Roughriders camp as they're back on the field today. Dave Thomas was there. We got a number of audio clips for you. Coach May's talking about Calgary as well. Looking ahead to BC. Scottie Scheffler, professional golfer, the world number one. He had a real interesting sound bite that everyone's talking about. Not everyone. I hate when people say that. That a lot of people are talking about. It's all over social media. We're going to play it. We're going to talk about it because in hour two, Arash Madani will want to touch on that as well. It's Tuesday, the second installment of PumpJacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse Trivia. You're going to have to be ready in that second hour. You got to phone in 936-6262. It's the Prairie Land Rentals text line, but you can also phone it. And then the toll-free number is 1-866-767-0620. Guaranteed no one wrote that down. You can find it on Google. PumpJacks Trivia. We're going to be talking Saskatchewan Roughriders. If you're the caller that Colson picks, you got 10 seconds to answer it. And today we got $100 at PumpJacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse up for grab. $100. No strings attached. If you get it wrong, you still get a lunch on PumpJacks Cathedral. So we'll have some fun in hour two. Brian Raymond stops by. Glen Suitor in hour three and more from Riderville. All of our guests join us on the Prairie Land or on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings. You can participate on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Power tools, gardening tools, generators, welders, whatever you need. They rent it all, 600 Albert Street. And our sports tickers are brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals, Extreme Hockey and Sport in Regina, and Steelcraft Doors in Regina. Joining me today, he's back from an extended holiday, a vacation. He hasn't been with us in a while. I'm quite excited. Harry's back, my old co-host on Global Television in Saskatoon. He's with us. I don't know where we want to start. First off, let's go to the smoke. And you're I can't hear him. Do I need to be plugged in somewhere? There we go. You're up in Saskatoon. There's no secrets there. You're up. I heard it's been a lot worse up there than down here in Regina. Now you wouldn't know what we're going with in Regina, but what was it like today in Saskatoon, smoke wise? Oh, his mic is off.
Well,
okay, well, we're going to figure out the sound. There we go. We got her.
It hasn't been too bad, actually. It's been way worse. I think yesterday morning when I woke up, it was really bad. But as the day kind of proceeded, it got better and better and better. And today is nowhere near as bad as it was yesterday.
Because things are going on up north, and everybody's talking about Waskesiu. My wife, my family, heading up there today. They're doing a detour. They're going to spend some time in Saskatoon and then come back. They're going to pick up a dog. We're dog sitting for the next 2 weeks. But they were like, yeah, no, I don't think it's a good idea. My brother was just upset. The smoke at last night was awful in Waskesiu. So if you're going traveling up north, or if you're up north, let us know what it's like. 936-6262. We are a sports program, but we like to talk other things. And that's what we're getting a lot of people like. Talk about life. Talk about things that are poignant in our fair cities. And the beauty of it, I've lived in both cities. I grew up in Saskatoon. I was a West Sider. Chris was an East Sider. We became really good friends. Hey, I love Saskatoon. I love Regina. From a guy that's lived in both cities, hot tip, they're both fine. Like, we are not comparing Regina to the Hamptons.
No,
or to Laguna Beach. It's like when somebody from PA debates with North Battleford. Really? Or Yorkton Swift Current. Really? They both have good. The one good thing I like about Saskatoon, to be honest with you, is it's closer to the north. The extra 2 hours sucks when you have to drive. But sometimes if you want to get a discounted flight from a Williston or Minot, sometimes the benefits there. There's a lot of good spots in the south, too, to travel. I haven't gotten to them all, but definitely good and bad. And if people, Saskatoon's a beautiful city because they got the river. Let me take you by my mom's house for a bit, and we'll see what see if your opinion on Saskatoon changes a smidge. Anyway, thanks, Harry, for being here. So the Riders, a lot of people talk, okay, well, injuries, and we got a loss in the books. I personally didn't think they were going to run the table.
Right. It's funny. I'd say the same thing when I make a bogey 3 or 4 holes into a round. I wasn't going to make 18 pars.
Calgary's
it's not the way it's going to go.
And I admitted yesterday, I didn't think it. Calgary's a better football team than I thought. No, I'm not a pro. I know. I don't know. Luke breaks it down well. From what my eyeballs, the old eyeball test, from a guy that coaches a little bit still, I think Calgary will continue to get better, but I'm very curious on VA later in the season and how that looks. And I think I said that too last year when he torched us with BC. And I said, you bring that game to Mosaic in early November or late October when you could have who knows what for weather. Hot tip, Saskatoon and Regina have the same weather. And then we'll get to, what game travels. But they were good. And Alfred, the receiver, big body. Some people it's funny, some people are like, he's a one and done. He's like a Joe, which I keep forgetting about. That there's still a slim possibility.
Yep.
He plays for the Saskatchewan Roughriders at some point still. Now, that probably won't happen, but we'll see. I know a lot of you out there are wondering about injuries. Can we go to Mace 5 first, Colson? We got it. Coach Mace today at practice talking about Tavon Campbell, Marcus Sales, and Roland Milligan Jr., who didn't practice today.
No. I mean, obviously with TC, he missed last week. We're definitely trending in the right direction. Just, kind of wanted to be smart, this first day. But I definitely wouldn't be shocked if all three of them play.
Yeah, so he's not giving us much. We'll wait and see as it goes. What?
It's something that, just as a Joe Q public, that struck me as in that clip, and I was thinking about it, listening to about injury report and guy didn't play last week. At this point in these guys' career, it shouldn't be the red flag if they miss a day of practice. They're not going to fall behind so far that maybe he just banged up, needed an extra day of rest. Like, it shouldn't be the end-all be-all that guys miss practice, because they practiced the day before, they're going to practice the next day. It's not like their skills are going to deteriorate if they miss a couple of days of practice in order to keep them healthy. I'm surprised it doesn't actually happen more often. But
little load management.
Exactly, especially because that's such a popular term nowadays. Is like, why wouldn't you? Do you really need every guy out practicing every day? What are they practicing?
And football, it's so. Remember when I started coaching, and I see, I'm not a teacher, I'm not an educator and all that, and I don't have great patience. But when you're dealing with kids, and it's patience, right? And I equated it to being in a dance group or being in a drama, doing a play. You got repetition until I used to Ukrainian dance as a kid. And I remember it was like, I got to go to Ukrainian dance practice. And he just went through the same thing where it's almost muscle memory, right?
Yeah.
And
sure.
I could probably still perform some of the dances just if I heard the music because it was like so ingrained, which is what football. Now there's always scheme too. It's like, okay, we're going to implement this. We're going to implement these plays. Or on the defensive side, we're going to implement this because we see this. But a lot of that is, you'd think, classroom, video. It's like, hey, you're tweaked a bit. Just, Chikai, sit on the sideline.
Sure.
We'll run through this in the boardroom.
The difference between that and, like you said, like the dance or the play is that's memorization. Like, you can memorize theory in football, but so much of it is practical. It's not the same. It's not like these guys are going to run this route on this play, and then this play it's not in order. It's totally random. You can't predict football. You can predict the play. You know your lines. You memorize your lines. So missing a day of rehearsal affects your performance. But in the world of sports, being healthy and being able to give it 100% is way more important than practicing every day against the same offense. I think, personally.
Football is just so grindy. And I don't want to get into debate which sport is tougher. Right. Because I personally think the toughest sport to play, probably at a professional level, would be either hockey or football.
Right.
The toughest sport to be good at consistently, is golf. Right. And I'd be like, that's not a real sport. It's like, okay, well, you know what? The world is classified as a sport. You ain't going to change it. It just, again, tennis. You have 5.5 hours. Those guys rattled off, and what was it, the French Open? Like, that is driving from Regina to almost L'Orange playing tennis.
Yeah.
I can't, then the blisters and what's going on in your feet and the sliding back and forth.
Oh,
Colson?
your hips.
I was going to say both are equally exhausting.
Driving to L'Orange?
Yeah.
Wow, depends if Roscoe gets us that truck, that bench seat half ton that we need. Sorry, Harry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, and the impact on your joints, your knees, your hips, every sport is difficult in its own way. That's what's so hilarious about when debates like this happen, is that football's hard because it's violent and it's fast and it's physically taxing. Hockey is hard because you have to learn a whole other skill, which is skating. It's not like basketball or baseball where you're on your regular 2 feet. So every sport is different and hard in its own way. That's what's hilarious about those conversations.
I love when you talk to like educated Americans and they love watching hockey live. And they'll be like, it's fascinating how fast they can do things, and they're on a butter knife. Like they're on a little piece of metal, and they're moving back and forth and all that, and they respect it. And when you really just sit down and you think about, if you came from another planet and you watched hockey, you'd be like, what the heck is going on here? Like it is a lot of the rules, and you don't say, oh, stupid Americans, they don't know. Hey, hot tip, they don't really care. So, yeah, what's an offside? I still don't know what an offside is in soccer. When I watch a big soccer event with my wife and my daughter now, and I'm like, the ball, he was in front, he was doing what now? Does the lines matter at all in soccer? No, they don't. It's just the ball. So it's kind of your culture, where you grew up. Are you better than someone because you know the rules of hockey? I don't know if you need that one. Go ahead. It's like the whole Saskatoon Regina thing. You go ahead, sure. Go to Bizarre Novelty, get yourself a medal. Saskatoon's better than Regina, or Regina's better, I don't know, whatever. I don't know. I would take Lake Tahoe or Whitefish personally. To me, the other two are the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Back to the Riders. This is the other thing too. And what's your take on a lot of times, and Coach Mace, he didn't get lambasted, but people were last year when he said, hey, you know what? A loss is good, basically. This isn't verbatim. A loss is good, for a team. Losses are good. Build some callous, all that. Remember last year, people are like, what is he talking about? It's like just the context of it. Like, come on. And today he was asked if a loss can be good for a team.
I think so. Truthfully, I hope so. After you get that, you hope it can be. Yeah. I mean, that deflated, I think, I want to say our ego, but, guys, that one was tough for everybody to kind of swallow. But, it's early in the year. You kind of want to get that out the way. And certainly how they practiced today, I think they understood what we needed.
And can we go to 4 here, Colson? Because the other little catch today was it was a padded practice, and he was asked if that was a response to Saturday's game.
It was just a good practice. We wanted to compete a little bit, and I thought we accomplished that.
Nah. I love Coach Mace. You're busting him.
I mean, without failure, there can be no success, right?
Ooh.
You have to taste failure to know what success is. If you just humdrum through every day and nothing ever changes, you don't really know what true success is until you get kicked in the butt and know what it feels like to fail, to get knocked down. So you got to be able to pick yourself up. And so it's a good thing. If you got to put a spin on it, then yeah, sure, it's a good thing to lose this early in the year. You hate to be 15-0 and lose, and then all of a sudden get into a losing slump because you have no idea what losing feels like, and that next game you're out, and all of a sudden the playoffs are over, and you're like, holy, we only lost 1 game this year.
And I think
that's not good.
I think everybody is aware now, me included, just a pigeon in Regina. Calgary's good. It is going to be 3-4 teams in the West, whatever you want. It's going to be hard. Sorry, Edmonton. I don't have you guys are doing the backwards thing. Losing is good. Losing too much is not good. It's Mace talks about what they need to be better on from the Calgary game. 3, 2, and 1.
Honestly, we definitely got out-physicaled, and then with that you start reeling, and then your mental focus goes right. So. Unfortunately, all of that was kind of stacked on top of us this last game. And again, I don't want to take zero credit away from Calgary. They're a really good football team, man. They coach well. They play hard. But that we have to be better if we need to match anybody in this league. So,
yeah, I don't know. It's people are going to complain about this and that and the other, and you can tell. I shouldn't say you could tell. I think it was a wake-up call, and they knew there was going to be tough sledding through this season. I personally, and I said it yesterday, I'm scared about going into BC this weekend. A, you're on the road. B, Nathan Rourke is a good quarterback. Yeah, he didn't look fantastic last year, but they watched tape on what Calgary did to our defense. Now, mind you, we are going to change some things. We're probably going to change some looks and some pressure and all that. But our people running around crazy and starting vehicles on fire if we lose 2 in a row here in Riderville. But that's what I feel like. It's just going to be like, settle down. It's not a big league, but there's a lot of parity.
Yes, and that's just it. The league, Calgary didn't show up with 50 guys that they just picked up at the Home Depot on their way through down the Trans-Canada. It's an established football team with guys that have an established football resume. Everybody is arguably, you could say, is good, like you said, maybe the exception of Edmonton. And that's the solace with BC, is that their 3 wins haven't exactly been incredible. I mean, 2 of them are against Edmonton, and the other one's a 1-point win over Montreal. So I wouldn't say that BC is coming in like this juggernaut, but are they building momentum? Quite possibly. Can they, like you said, look at what Calgary did and build off of that against the Riders? Sure. Anything's possible.
Ray around Tisdale says if the Riders don't run the ball against BC, they won't win. Yeah, well, they need more. Hot tip, AJ Ouellette's going to need more than 9 yards. Like AJ, but
yeah,
that's Calgary. They did a great job scouting, pre-scout. Maybe we did get out-physicaled, which is a great new term out there as well on the line and our offensive line. Hey, got to be better. We need more of a push. We need more holes. We need to be better. But AJ let catches that swing pass or that small little pass, and then that guy bounced off him, and he didn't go down. I'm like, what? Like, talk about a gamer. To your point again, when we started this with maybe a load management, that guy needs to rest during the season as well. Because does he take a look at it? And I'm still shocked. John from Kamloops yesterday messaged in and said, I'm as shocked as you that Kadeem Carey didn't get more touches. Mark Mueller's way smarter than me, though, but...
And that's a perfect argument for the load management, for holding guys out, especially when you have guys that have a history of being maybe a little nicked up here and there. Why wouldn't you? Like, if you need to rely on that, you have to protect these guys sometimes from themselves. And AJ Ouellette would be a perfect example of a guy you need to protect from himself because there's no off switch, right? It's 100 miles or nothing.
You know who he reminds me of? You. No, it is. What did you just run in England? What you did those tough mutters and you do all those. It's just I watched that on YouTube and I'm like, who is doing that? Oh yeah, Harry.
Yeah, crazy people.
What was it called?
World's toughest mutter. 24-hour race, 24-hour obstacle course race.
Yeah, no, like, God. And you've done it with injuries. I know. It's like, yeah, I've tore my bicep, but I'm still going to do this. It
needs to be done.
Prairie Land Rentals text line. There's a few here. This one jumps out. Brian in Neudorf. Shout out Brian. He's smart. I'm a Colts fan in the NFL, and I can't almost assure you Joe will be back. They will keep 6 on the active roster and 2 on the practice roster. According to the experts, he's ranked 9th or 10th. So unless injuries, something happens, he's back by September. Okay, so he's saying he will be back. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for that message. Good insight there.
Yeah, insider. Hashtag insider.
So one thing I would say is, remember last year with training camp, Luke commented, we didn't see a Joe until they put pads on, and then they saw him getting physical. So they haven't seen him yet. Maybe they'll see that dog in him like we did, and that's when he'll bump up on the ranking. So we won't know.
True.
And I always kind of laugh when they start talking about experts in sports. I'm just going to leave that there.
But the only other thing is because it's the NFL, there's like 100 dogs, not 20. So it'll be interesting on that front. Again, anyways, good text, Brian. Namer on the YouTube channel. I think he's out in BC as well. He says the PA North Battleford comparison is not a conversation. We all know you can't spell paradise without PA. Love it. Love it. Let's take a quick break here. It is a Sports Cage. Harry's with me. Colson's with me. Whether you're listening, driving around, maybe you're up at Ag in Motion outside of Saskatoon. Great weather for it this week, by the way. I've been up there when it's been like 30-some degrees. You can't get rid of the back sweat. This week looks good. Smooth sailing up there. Quick break. It is a Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com and on the home of the Rider, 620 CKRM. All right, welcome back. Quick glance through the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 936-6262. We got Ricky out in Victoria, BC. He says, you're right, Barney. AJ needs more touches, but run him to the outside instead of up the middle. Running him up the middle didn't work against the Stamps. I think the Stamps did a great job out physicaling, as Coach May said, and they didn't have much to go in the middle. Maybe outside, I don't know. Again, they're smarter than me, but I like what you're saying, Rick. Maybe they'll try something like that this week, or maybe we're going to see Kadeem Carey a little bit more to the outside, right? Leonard says if we lose 2 games in a row, we're not going to throw eggs at players' houses like we did when the kicker missed field goals when Roy Shivers and Danny were here. We got Darren in Regina said he's worried about BC as well. And Tina in Regina says we need AJ running more, basically. Yeah, like 100 yards. That's what I was like, oh, are they going to keep him to 100 yards? It just didn't happen. Okay, we got more Rider stuff coming up in a moment. Don't forget, in hour 2, if you're a Rider fan, Be ready for PumpJacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse Trivia. You're going to be the caller. $100 up for grab at PumpJacks. You can take a few friends to there. Great place. Live music on the weekends. Before a game, before or after a Rider game, it's a buzzsaw. A lot of people are loving it there. Okay, now the going around social media today, we'll play it, and then we'll talk about it because Arash is going to want to talk about it later. If you haven't heard this, it's world number 1 golfer Scottie Scheffler. Now, you don't have to be a golf fan to really get what he's saying. It's more the pro athlete angle and how pro athletes sometimes think. We'll talk about it when we come back, but here's what he said. He's at the Open over in England, or in Ireland. Sorry, I think this is what he had to say.
I think it's kind of funny. I think, I think I said something after the Byron this year about, like, it feels like you work your whole life to celebrate winning a tournament for like a few minutes. It only lasts a few minutes, that kind of euphoric feeling. And to win the Byron Nelson Championship at home, I literally worked my entire life to become good at golf, to have an opportunity to win that tournament. And you win it, you celebrate, get to hug my family, my sister's there. It's such an amazing moment. And then it's like, okay, now what are we going to eat for dinner? Life goes on. Is it great to be able to win tournaments and to accomplish the things I have in the game of golf? Yeah. I mean, it brings tears to my eyes just to think about, because it's literally worked my entire life to become good at this sport, and to have that kind of sense of accomplishment, I think is a pretty cool feeling. To get to live out your dreams is very special. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not out here to inspire the next generation of golfers. I'm not here to inspire somebody else to be the best player in the world, because what's the point? This is not a fulfilling life. It's fulfilling from the sense of accomplishment, but it's not fulfilling from a sense of, like, the deepest, places of your heart. There's a lot of people that make it to what they thought was going to fulfill them in life, and then you get there and all of a sudden you get to number 1 in the world, and then they're like, what's the point? And I really do believe that, because what is the point? You're like, why do I want to win this tournament so bad? That's something that I wrestle with on a daily basis. It's like showing up at the Masters every year. It's like, why do I want to win this golf tournament so badly? Why do I want to win the Open Championship so badly? I don't know. Because if I win, it's going to be awesome for about 2 minutes. And then we're going to get to the next week, and it's going to be like, hey, you won 2 majors this year. How important is it for you to win the FedEx Cup playoffs? And it's just like, we're back here again, So we really do. We work so hard for such little moments. And, I'm kind of a sicko. I love putting in the work. I love being able to practice. I love getting out to live out my dreams. But at the end of the day, sometimes I just don't understand the point. Because
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm making any sense or not.
I don't know if you are making a lot of sense, Scotty, to be honest with you. I don't know if he's testing out new gummies over there in the UK, but I was like, what are you trying to say? How do you, I usually like your takes on stuff like this. So I'm first going to go with you before I sound like an absolute buffoon.
There's so much to unpack in this press conference. Like, he is all over the map. I go back and forth. That's the 4th time I've watched that today, because I really wanted to kind of like sink my teeth into it and try to figure out what he's trying to say. And then, so this last time I watched it, a few things struck out. I made a few notes because I was like, I had so many different things going on. So the first thing that kind of stands out, where I'm like, oh, Scotty, that's an idiotic thing to say, is when he's talking about, like, what's the point? What does it matter? Who cares? Well, it's your job, and you need it to sustain your family. So then the thought that I think to myself is, these guys have way too easy of a road. They have too much money thrown at them from all other different directions that they don't need to win every week. Whereas Jack Nicklaus's career winnings were an eighth of what these guys make in a week for winning one tournament. So it's almost like it's too easy for them, where they don't have to have that hunger or desire, or meh, whatever. If I win this week, I win this week, or who cares, or just so laissez-faire. Maybe it's just a too much too soon kind of thing. But on the other hand, I also like the fact that he is not saying that being a golfer defines who he is, which is something that I like. I like the fact that he's like, to me, Bryson DeChambeau is a golfer, and that defines who he is as a human being. If Bryson DeChambeau didn't have golf, he would be nobody. Whereas Scottie Scheffler is basically saying, I have other things in my life that fill up my cup other than golf. I love golf. I love playing golf. Golf affords me the lifestyle that I have, but doesn't define me who I am as a person. So I kind of like that aspect of what he was saying.
He's going to have to answer these questions on this clip for a very long time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
because
it was everywhere today.
It was so cryptic, and it was like he takes you one way and then he comes back the other way and all that. And the one, it's like winning doesn't last. It's like it's just that moment after a tournament. And it's like, hey, bud, when you hop on that jet, when you get to your house, when you have all the luxuries of your, Ferrari or whatever you drive, that's from winning. That winning lasts when you get that. And then I don't know what he said, something about, going to dinner and all that. Like, you don't have to worry about that. Lettuce is $5 a head, and the expense of everything has gone up. You don't have to worry about your mortgage payment or if your AC goes down, if you're fortunate enough to have AC, or like that's from winning. And I almost think then that he has never lived the other life where you grind to make rent. You check to check, and you sit there and you go, how the hell am I ever going to get out of above? Yeah, I'm just going check to check and check. We've all been there, or most of us. If you haven't, you're really lucky. I'm not here to inspire. Yeah, you are. That's what you sign up for as a pro athlete.
I know.
Like, I'm not here to inspire the youth and da-da-da-da. Then get the hell off the stage and go work in a chicken farm. And then call us and let us know how that's working. That's where I was just baffled on this guy's brain.
Yeah, and that was the next point that I wrote, is like, not here to inspire the next generation. And like, you are, whether you want to or not, that's the role as the number one golfer in the world. That's what you do. And then back to your point about the grinding it out, that was my first point. Like, that's what I mean. It just seems like they have so much revenue, so many revenue streams, that they're unappreciative of the grind that it takes to win the golf tournament, because they have so much money and everything handed to them that the appreciation for the guy is 29 years old.
Yeah.
And he won the FedEx Cup last year, which is a $20 million prize in itself. So he wants for nothing forever now.
Your vehicle's not going to break down on the freeway and you're going to worry about it. Like, there's so many things. Like, Colson, go ahead.
You actually undersold it, Harry. Jack Nicklaus had 1/16 earnings of what Scottie has, because the PGA has a ranking for us on their website, and Nicklaus is 386th in total career earnings, and Scottie's fourth.
Arash is going to want to talk about this in hour two, but if you haven't heard it today, that was just a little piece of it. We got to go to break here because you just golfed over in England, and you got a story on a caddy about golfers, and then I got a buddy that just got back from Scotland, and he was at the Scottish Open, and it kind of goes into what you were talking about, so we can get to that in a bit. It is a Sports Cage. We are streaming at sportscage.com and always on 620 CKRM. Tavon Campbell, Marcus Sayles, and Roland Milligan Jr. did not practice for the Riders today. Coach Mace did say he's not ruling them out, though, for the weekend. Western Canadian Baseball League, Regina's on the road. They're in Brooks tonight. First place, Saskatoon, and Okotoks, and Weyburn is at Moose Jaw. Major League Baseball, it's the Midsummer Classic. It's the All-Star Game. The American League leads the National League all-time, 48-44-2. In this, American League has won 11 of the last 12, and they're the underdog tonight. If you're a D-Gen like me, you might sprinkle on the game. The over-under 7.5. I have no idea what I'm doing, so you can text me and let me know who I should take. That is your sports ticker for Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals, keeping you in hot and soft water. Call on Reliance. All right, Harry, back to you. Give us the story. You were just over in England golfing, and you talked to a caddy or somebody that used to be a caddy or something like that?
Yes, these caddies right now, Royal St. George's, so they hosted in 2023 when Morikawa won. And when we were playing, I think it was the eighth hole. He pointed to a house that was behind and said, "Oh, Tiger Woods rented that house when he was here." And the hotel, he's like, "Oh, Morikawa had the whole floor of that hotel there, and they had a big party there after he won." But he basically said, professional golfers as a whole, they want for absolutely nothing. They are catered to at every beck and call. Anything that they need at any time is basically provided either for them or to them. And so when Scottie Scheffler comes out and says something like, "It doesn't really matter," or "Who cares?" But what's the point? Like, it just speaks to that level of. I mean, it's no secret that people think golf is kind of an elitist sport to start with, and really things like that do nothing to help downplay that image.
So I was talking to a buddy today that just got back from Scotland, and he did play a lot of golf, and he played with it was a former caddy, and he kind of talked about that, but they kind of went in more to players and what he knew about players. Now, these guys don't listen to the program, so it's okay. Justin Thomas, they said, is very prickish. Then he was at the Scottish Open, and he saw that, and he had his kids with him. Went the opposite way off the putting green when he said, "Oh, I'll come and sign that later." Things like that. Then he said, Adam Scott, unbelievable guy. He said he was kind of hitting on my wife too, which was cool. And then guess the other golfer. You might get this. Guess the other golfer that he said salt of the earth, seemed like such an amazing guy. He's not from North America.
I would probably say either Justin Rose or Shane
Justin
Lowry.
Rose. Justin Rose. Yeah. He said, like, unbelievable, threw the kid a ball, and then the kid pulled out a Sharpie just as like a hey. Then he came over and he signed it. Like, so, like, you and I went to the 2009 PGA Championship. And we weren't inside the ropes, but we had a pretty cool vantage. With the Mike Weir story, I tell all the time. We had some T-shirts made. And there wasn't a lot of people following Mike Weir. We were Canadian. We wanted to follow Mike. And we were walking alongside the ropes. I can't believe I remember this because there was a lot of pints. And he said, "Hey, guys," I think he asked where we're from in Canada, Saskatchewan, and he said, "I love the shirts." And then he kind of went into something about one of our shirts that I'm not going to repeat on the air here. But I'm like, what a good guy, right? The elitist and the catered to. Like, I can't even imagine Tiger Woods back in the day. Tiger Woods at any time back in the day, like, anything he wanted. I feel basketball players, some football would be. Probably hockey too. I don't know. Would be the same. It would be really interesting to just be a fly on the wall.
Oh, absolutely. Just to pull back the curtain. I mean, people have. I think the expression that would come to my mind is that people have an idea, but they have no idea. Right? Like, people can like imagine, but you can't imagine. Like, you think it's one way, but it's like 10 times what you think.
I can't wait to talk to Arash in hour 2. We also got PumpJacks Cathedral Trivia, chance to win $100 coming up. That will be in hour 2. I can't wait tomorrow. We're going back out to Egg in Motion. Gloria's Nitro Green Lightning. I keep learning. Gloria, I can't wait for more. It's like a science class for me here. It's a Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back. Tuesday, like the big voice said, for Saskatchewan Lotteries. Harry is with me. Colson's in the pocket. We got Arash Madani standing by. We got more rider audio coming from practice in a bit. Also, PumpJacks Cathedral Trivia. Chance to win $100 to PumpJacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse in Regina. It's rider-based, and you're going to have to call in. So you're going to need a rotary dial telephone. Any kind of telephone will work. 936-6262. A couple of texts here before you get to Arash. I like Benny's a good guy, right? Out and he's kind of Winnipeg, but he's in Manitoba. He wanted to know what the deal was with PumpJacks Cathedral. We got him intrigued if it's the new hotspot in Regina. Very similar to Silver Heights, Benny, I heard in Winnipeg. I haven't been to PumpJacks yet. I keep saying I'm going to go, but I know before and after Rider games is biggie. And then he said, working in northern Manitoba, thank God for the CKRM app. Looking forward to 4 to 7 every day. End the workday off with a bang. Thanks, Benny. Makes a guy feel good. Around these parts, you don't get a lot of kudos, so we'll take them. We'll take them when we can. Also, we are going to play Pick the Score, but I think that's hour 3. Colson's laying the hammer down. He's saying hour 3 because we got Pump Jacks going on in this one. So we'll do Pick the Score in hour 3. And then don't forget the Rough Rider Foundation 50/50 this week. Riders5050.ca. You're going to buy a 50/50 ticket for the game. Yes, they're in Vancouver, but you still got a chance to win. And then if you buy it before Thursday at 5 p.m., you're in for the early bird prize, which is a Rider Labor Day package. Includes 2 tickets to the Labor Day Classic, August 31st, 1 night hotel accommodation. Not quite sure what hotel, but I'm sure it's a nice one. And a parking pass, so you don't have to hoof it to the stadium. So there you go. Riders5050.ca. Let's get into it with our man, Arash Madani.
It's time to go coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
We're going to have to pivot on some of our discussion points today after the Scottie Scheffler thing comes down. We'll maybe go to the end of our segment with that. First off, I really want to get in. Before we forget, you're coming to town next month, Arash. Is it next month? Royal Regina Golf Course. Bruce Boudreau. It's a dinner. Ryan Pollock was in co-hosting yesterday. Here it is. If you're watching the stream, Thursday, August 28th, right before the Labor Day, champagne reception and plated dinner. I heard it's prime rib.
Whoa. Champagne reception. Mr. Pollock didn't tell me there'd be bubbly.
Yeah, baby duck, baby. Let's roll. Tickets on sale. There's only 2 tables left, I heard. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. Brought to you by Flooring Superstore, sponsor of the program. Extreme Hockey and Sport, sponsor of the program. And Cavers, he's basically a bounty hunter, but he's a beauty too. He's not a sponsor of the program yet. And Genesis Automobiles. I've never driven one. But it's going to be a fun event. Bruce Boudreau is coming in. Give people a look behind the curtain, Arash. What do you got up your sleeve?
So Bruce and I have traveled the country doing this. I will say that. We have been everywhere from Lloydminster, Alberta, to downtown Toronto, to Western University's campus and all points in between. And Bruce, for those who may not remember, was Alexander Ovechkin's head coach with the Washington Capitals, was with the Canucks the last go around just before Rick Tocchet. Bruce has been involved in hockey forever. He has got, and Barney, this is the God's honest truth. We talk about investment opportunities a lot, sprinkles. Mm-hmm. The over-under on stories Bruce has in hockey is around 1 million. Because he's got something for everybody, from Ryan Getzlaf to Wayne Gretzky to Alexander Ovechkin to for those of a certain vintage. If you remember the movie Slapshot, not only was Bruce in the movie, but they used his apartment in the movie. Like it's awesome. If you like pucks, if you like storytelling, he's the best. And he and I have gone around the country doing these things, as I said. And if you like a few pops and a night out, it's time.
I can't wait. And you get to meet my wife finally.
Yes, finally.
That night, it'll be interesting. So I can't wait to get Bruce on the program. I heard you can hook me up and we'll get him on here. Yes. But the apartment scene where he's trying to get a nap in Slapshot, he's got the towel over his head and he's in his boxer shorts and the phone keeps ringing.
This is the specifics are a question for Coach Boudreau. But make sure when you have him on to ask him the question about when Wayne Gretzky was lighting up his phone, texting him, asking about coming to Edmonton on a trip. because it's awesome.
Okay.
It's awesome. You'll howl.
Colson is writing it down. That might be Colson's question. Yeah, so tickets available at the Royal Regina Golf Course. Like I said, I heard there was only 2 tables left. It is going to be, it sounds like it's going to be a great time. And you guys tour around the country doing it.
Yeah.
You got a shtick? Do you guys got a shtick? Is it like all planned out off the covers like Smith and Smith back in the day?
No, it's kind of like, hey, we see each other, we meet at the airport, and we're like, catching up on whatever, and then we sit up on stage, and
nice.
It's kind of like, all right, we're going to talk about the same stuff. Like, it's not a shtick; it's just Bruce, and then he'll like, because he loves to talk, right? His nickname's Gabby. So sometimes out of nowhere, he'll drop something, and I'm like, oh, well, tell me more about that. And if there are any Canucks fans out there in Regina who want to come, there's a lot Bruce hasn't said about the Canucks from a couple of years ago and how it all went down. Right. So I think it'll be fun.
Okay. Can't wait. We'll be talking about that more here in the weeks leading up, and then once it's sold out, your SOL. It was Smokey in and around Regina on Friday night. A football game postponed.
Really? Are you sure?
I'm really curious on your take on that, because it was something that no one's ever seen, where a game gets pushed to the next day.
Yeah, and I want to word this properly. I don't think there's going to be a scenario where what happened on Friday night will happen again. And what I mean by that is, okay, maybe they'll move it to the next day, but the uncertainty of it all won't happen again. Like what's happening, I think this week, next week, something like that. They already were going to have the CFL a management council meeting, which is basically the team presidents and the people at the top of each organization. Guess what? There's a lot of new things on the docket in the aftermath of this that are going to come up, that will be discussed, that, like when you put policies in place, my take always is, all right, let's think and talk about the unintended consequences. We have a weather program, we have a smoke program, we have a air quality program, whatever you want to call it. Great. Did we take into account what happens if we don't even get the game underway? That hadn't happened yet, right? So now there's going to be a new policy that's going to involve that. It almost seems like until it happens, this is a league that just, it has to happen for them to react to it rather than be proactive to it. We'll see in the new regime if Stu Johnston and company will be more proactive about things. But they're absolutely going to deal with this right away, because you just get the sense more and more of these things are going to happen.
Is it fair how hard people came down on everybody involved, the whole process, because it was so new? And my take, they obviously wanted to play the game. Like we had people that texted in yesterday, the union, to the volunteers that had to come back, to the workers that had to come back. And then a lady messaged in yesterday about paratransit. She can't, they're not mobile, and they couldn't do anything on Saturday, so they had to make different arrangements. Like the rigmarole to get everything back and going. I don't know if I can sit here and really fault anyone, because it was so different. It was uncharted waters.
I think the biggest takeaway from this are a few things. One, communication. Let's let everybody know what's going on first and foremost. A lot of this was happening on the fly because there had been no precedent and there had been no policy. But as you're kind of deciding things, let's make sure everyone's in the loop on things. The other is, there are sometimes things just happen. And like, I feel for the person who couldn't make it to the stadium. I feel for the volunteers. I feel for the people who have to commute hours on end. And bleep happens sometimes. And I'm not, there are things that across the board could have been done better. There's no question. But also there are some things that are outside everybody's control. And I think that the takeaway from this has to be, all right, let's go through this entire thing from start to finish. What are the controllables for us? Mm-hmm. Let's address those one by one by one by one by one. And let's own those. And that's okay. But also, we can't be blamed for the Kennedy assassination either. And I think that's important too, right? Like, Craig Reynolds and Stu Johnson and everybody involved with the Riders wasn't on the grassy knoll on the 22nd day of November in 1963. So could they have been better? Yes. Could there have been better communication? Yes. Should there have been better protocols? Probably. As an old coach once said to me about making a decision on a player, whether you cut them or not, the first mistake, it's on us as a coaching staff. The second mistake, once we coach them up, then it becomes on the player. And so in the aftermath of all of this, let's just make sure that everybody gets better. Let's coach everybody up. Let's have better protocols, different protocols in place, and then we move on and get better.
Any chance so that they're on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository instead of the grassy knoll?
I have been to that school book depository twice in my life. They've turned into a museum. And if you think Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, you are an absolute fool. Because there's absolutely no chance that happened. But anyway, that's the difference.
No, this is educational. There's the X on the road. So
correct.
The best tip I can give people when they go to that is go at night, and there'll be locals, somewhat street people around there, and they give you a better tour, a better of account than anything for like a $10 bill than you're ever going to get anywhere else. It was.
The other thing, Barney, is like I think when we see it on TV, it feels such like a big area, and then you see it in person, you're like, whoa, that is a tight hairpin turn onto Daly Plaza. Like it's all a very small little postage stamp where everything went down.
It reminds me a lot, Harry, of going underneath the Broadway Bridge in Saskatoon. It is. It goes down, and then there's an X right there, and it's like, ooh, this is eerie. Okay, besides, do you have anything on the smoke to ask Arash and the process, Harry?
No, I mean I agree with what he says. Like you got to get grace for once. If it's a one-off, great. But if this is the fourth time it's happened, then obviously something's got to change. But no, it's good.
Also, this, and I honestly feel bad for everybody involved because of all the weekends for this to happen. Of course, it was Craven Fest, where there's no hotel rooms, where there's nowhere for people to stay. Like, to me, the fact that the Stampeders won with some guys at the hotel and some guys in dorm rooms, and no one really, like, everyone talks about process and collaboration and, going about it. No one knew where they're going to get their next meal. No one knew where they're going to stay. No one knew where the showers were. No one knew anything. The fact that the Stamps won, like, kudos to Calgary. Like that's a hell of a road win in that spot, dealing with total unknowns and delivering when it mattered.
And that is what they look like in their first two drives. It's like, oh, the Riders are going to hammer these guys. They slept in the back of someone's vehicle last night. They ate who knows what. Gas station sushi at 2 a.m. Riders are going to roll. But that wasn't the case. Hey, this weekend it scares me because we go into BC and Nathan Rourke's still a good football quarterback, Arash.
Yeah, he really is. And I'll tell you this. I'm watching the game against Edmonton the other night, boys. And I'm like, okay, so you think about it. It was 11 or so months ago, 10 months ago that Rourke came back from the NFL. And you're starting to see him now get into a rhythm. You're starting to see him become Nathan Rourke again. Where's been the biggest difference? Where's been the biggest adjustment? It's what he's doing in the pocket. Like, yeah, I get the CFL. The CFL is about running around as a quarterback. It's bootlegging. It's improvising. It's doing whatever you can on the run. Nathan Rourke within the pocket, his footwork has improved. His ability to stay patient in the pocket has improved. His ability to step into the pocket and wait for the opportunity to make that throw has improved. Whatever's going on with BC, and a lot's happening, there's no question about it. But when you look at what Nathan Rourke's doing, most of it's from the pocket. And that's a byproduct of better footwork, better mechanics, better fundamentals, better trust. And that's what's leading to BC's offense starting to cook.
Montreal's going to get better here soon, too.
Davis Alexander coming back. Here's what's interesting about that, guys. So they're home to Toronto this week. I told you guys before the season started that I expected Chad Kelly to end up on the 6th game. And then it was week by week, blah, blah, blah. I don't quite know when Chad Kelly is going to come back to be playing full strength in the CFL. I think it's going to take not a little while, a long while. Like when Kelly did whatever he did to his knee and leg and this and that in the East Final last year, that was November. And the hope was this was going to be a 6 to 8 month injury or a 6 to 9 month injury. And then he'd be ready at some point during camp or in preseason or whatever. The Argos have Montreal this week, then back-to-back with Winnipeg. Now, who knows what's going to happen, right? The CFL, blah, blah, blah. If by chance Toronto loses its next 3, I think it's a long time before we see Chad Kelly. Like, if this season goes off the rails in the next month or so for Toronto, it wouldn't surprise me if Chad Kelly doesn't play the rest of the season. Because it's one of those deals where it's bad, it's not responding, it's not recovering, he's not practicing, it's not good. That's the number one quarterback in the league now.
That team.
Yeah, like it's this is no disrespect to Vernon Adams, who's balling out of his mind. It's no disrespect to Nathan Rourke or whomever you want to put, whoever you want to put in the conversation for the top quarterback in the league. Chad Kelly's the guy when it comes to quarterback. And I'm not saying his season's done now, but there is a real scenario in which he may not play, and he's not playing anytime soon. So that's where things are. Here we are, mid-July. The season started late May. I would be shocked if we see Chad Kelly playing for the Argos in the next month.
Crazy. Are you an All-Star Game guy, Arash? Are you going to be tuning in tonight with bated breath, wondering who's going to win the AL out of the NL in the annual Midsummer Classic?
I am not. I used to be. I just, no. My dad's also in town. It's his birthday. We're going out for dinner. But I don't know if you guys heard this today. The commissioner of baseball has said that if the Tampa Rays make the playoffs, and they probably will, and if the Tampa Rays make the World Series, and they might, the Tampa Rays may play a World Series game in a minor league ballpark. So last year, because of a hurricane, their stadium gets destroyed. So they have moved to the Yankees minor league spring training facility to play home games. It seats around 10 or 12,000. We may be in a scenario based on what Rob Manfred said today that stadium is going to host a World Series, games if the Rays make it through to the end of October.
But why there? There's 1,000 stadiums around the North America that they could play in. Why that one?
And I guess it comes down to this. So I've thought about that question a lot, Harry, and it's a good question. If, heaven forbid, a natural disaster happened in Regina, and the stadium was inoperable, and the Riders are hosting the West Final, and for the last 6-7 home games, they've been playing somewhere else in the state. with temporary seats. Would the Riders be cool playing the West Final against Calgary and Winnipeg?
I would say yeah, compared to if it was like Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon where you get 6,000 people, then I think yeah, if they
But you
said we
add
could
some
get
temporary
30,000 people,
seats. You make some temporary seats
I-
added. It's 15,000. Yeah, no, I hear.
I think they
I'm
would.
just.
I think you have to play in a comparable stadium. You can't play the World Series in a minor league facility.
Do you guys remember, though, and this was never going to happen, but it was, I remember talking to Dave King, legendary hockey coach, about this. It might have been on the Cage, it might have been on the Nooner. And we were talking about when the Coyotes moved to campus to, what's it called? Mullet Arena. And I said, what happens if they make the playoffs? And he goes, what happens if somehow, some way they made the Stanley Cup final? And I was like, I don't know. I would think that the Riders would play, they'd be fine playing at a Griffith instead of Winnipeg, but financially it would be tough.
I feel like they would lease the Gila River Arena for the Stanley Cup final.
But the way I understood it, that not Live Nation, the company that owns Gila River now, like hates
Right.
with
Yeah.
over and
Yeah, and
over and
here's
over the Coyotes owners.
Yeah, and here's the other thing: if that arena wasn't built for hockey, like if they hadn't played hockey there for a year, do they have a Zamboni? Do they have everything in place? Is there another? Where's the comparable stadium? Where are you going to go play? Are you going to go play in Nashville at a
Veterans
football
Memorial
stadium?
Coliseum?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying the Rays. Like, do you go to Miami and then you alienate all the Northern Florida fans who have to go to Southern Florida?
Or Alabama, maybe something closer. I have no idea. Nor do I really care at the end of the day, but it'll be interesting to watch for sure. Okay,
that would be wild.
Let's get to this Scottie Scheffler thing because we got about 4 minutes left here. Harry and I, our take. How do we say we're in agreement that you have, when you become a pro athlete and you're doing what you're doing? Yeah, winning only lasts for that little moment on the green, but it's the private jet that you get on after, the vehicle you did, the house, not a care in the world. That is all a result of winning and being good. It wasn't weird, for lack of a better term. I didn't know where his head was at, where he was going with it. I kept waiting him to spin around at the end and make some sort of, poignant. I couldn't figure it out, Arash. What was your take?
My take is a professional athlete, for the first time in a long while, was actually honest. Yes, the sport that gives him riches, the sport that gives him fame, the sport that gives him all of the bells and whistles and toys and all the things. But Scottie Scheffler often wakes up in a very comfortable Ritz-Carlton bed. And he'll wake up and he'll have no idea where he is. And his life is like Groundhog Day. Now, he's not taking a connecting commercial flight that gets delayed because of bad weather, lightning, mechanical, or whatever the idiotic airline industry comes up with these days for us. He flies private. And yes, he's not in a, flea bag motel. He's living a life of luxury. And yeah, he likes what he's doing out there. But it doesn't provide him the satisfaction, the gratification that he thought it would. And I think that, it's okay to say that. And I think it's important for people to understand that just because Scottie Scheffler is incredibly successful in his career and in his profession, that doesn't fulfill him. It's hard for some of us to understand it, What do you mean? You live the best life, the first class existence, et cetera, et cetera. But every day's the same, and every day everyone's coming at you, and every day, yeah, I know this is what I signed up for, and yeah, I know it gives me a lot of money, but it doesn't really fulfill me. And I think that's something that I appreciate about what Scottie Scheffler said today, that like, this isn't the be all end all of my life. And I think that's important for fans, consumers, all of us to realize and understand.
Yeah,
Oh God, I agree with some of that, but I also disagree.
I think he should have just kept that to himself then, and talked to his mental coach about it.
But why? Like, we ask all these athletes, we ask all these people in the public eye to not give us BS answers all the time. We ask them to be honest. We ask them to tell us what they're thinking. We ask them for the truth. And then when they give us that, we're like, well, what are you talking about? This is honestly what he thinks and feels, and this is what's important in his life. And if you ask the question, okay.
And that's what I appreciated from him, is that he's basically said, golf doesn't define who I am. I get my cup filled other methods. That's fine. Golf doesn't have to define you. You are about other things. But I think the other things that I struggled with him talking about, like, I'm not anybody's inspiration. I mean, you kind of like are like that, whether you want to or not.
No, but
you
what
have
he
an
meant
obligation.
by that, though, but Sharky, hold up. What he meant by that was, Harry, what he meant by that was, I don't want this to be your inspiration, because this is not inspirational for me. Like, this is not what matters the most to me. So I don't want you to end up in the same spot I'm in. Like, I'm going to give you a real 0.0001% comparable. Okay. The last year I covered the Blue Jays was 2022. It was a blast covering the Jays, but I just remember being in a camera well in Milwaukee in June on a weekend. I'm looking out. This guy who's never going to pitch again in the big leagues is starting for the Jays. Buddies, I'm on my phone on a group chat. All my buddies are out at cottages and parties and posting photos in group chats and having a blast. And I'm saying to myself, what am I doing here right now? Like people are living their lives, and I'm like right here in Milwaukee. Like, sometimes it just gets to be all-consuming and a lot, and you start to wonder. And a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? You're covering the big leagues. You're in Milwaukee. You're doing this. You're doing that. You have the night off. You're going for dinner. Yeah, all that's great, and I appreciated it, and I enjoyed it, and whatever. But sometimes you look around and you say to yourself, man, I also wouldn't mind having a life.
Then walk away.
Yeah.
But why? Why can't he do both?
Because he's not satisfied. Well, why would you want to keep doing something that makes you miserable and doesn't bring you joy when you think there's more out there at the other end of the rainbow for you? Why would you continue to bang your head against the wall?
Because they pay you $1 million a week.
Well, then be quiet about it.
Then you gotta suck it. It is like any job that any of us have ever had. There are days where you're like, I don't want it. But then on the other side, it's like there's the days that you talk about your buddies at the cottages and all that. Hypothetically, if you're talking about you, then there's the days that maybe you're at the Super Bowl or you're wherever, where your buddy's digging a ditch or cleaning a old toilet with a snake that doesn't work, and it's so we could go on this forever. The inspiration thing. It's like you never know when you're a professional athlete, when you're a person in power, when you're anybody like that, you never know when you're going to inspire somebody. And we could go like it's crazy. And it was just he is now going to have to answer these questions for who knows how long.
And who is he to decide what somebody else should be inspired by, and that maybe they want that life? And who is he to say that this isn't a life that you should want? This is an unfulfilling life, and I'm dead inside.
No,
so
that's not what he said. It was kind of like the Charles Barkley. It was the Charles Barkley line. He's like, I'm no role model. I'm here to play basketball. I'm not a role model.
No, that.
I don't like that one. Okay, we got to go to break. Can we do this again on Thursday? Can everybody just come back on Thursday? Hey, it's like a counseling session, right?
Harry, I'm sorry.
And if you've never gone to counseling in your life, everybody should go to counseling. Trust me, we all have stuff going on upstairs that ain't good. Hot tip,
100%.
everybody. But yeah, we can pick it up. And then Arash, we'll talk more on the royal dinner. This is good, boys.
I like it.
Let's all get it on the table. Maybe we can all have a pint together on August 20. Is it August 28th?
Whatever it is, there's not one. It's multiple.
Coast to Coast with Arash Madani for Brian Golly, Smart Investing Solutions. Time for a quick break. We got to check in at Ag in Motion. It is a Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. Okay, before we get into the clutch performer, Colson's saying now's the time to call. 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620 if you want to play PumpJacks Cathedral Trivia. The question's coming up in moments. As for clutch performer, I don't know if you all have one, but I'm going with Cal Raleigh, first catcher ever to win the home run derby last night, and more specifically, his dad. His dad was throwing the pitches to him, and his 15-year-old brother was the catcher. That whole thing was awesome. I don't even know why I was watching it, but I was watching it, and then at the end, and I'm like, is that cool? So to the whole Raleigh family, his brother did ask for a vehicle for doing it because he's turning 16. Smart kid. I like it, but that is my clutch performer for next service in Emerald Park. Do you guys got one? Anybody around the horn? No? All right. Cal Raleigh. First catcher ever to win that. Okay, so we play trivia here now on Tuesdays on the Sports Cage for Cathedral Saloon, PumpJacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. So we're tight for time here. Colson's saying we got a break now, but if you want to play it, and then we're going to come back, question's going to be rider related. You get a chance to win $100 to spend at PumpJacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse, new in Regina. 936-6262, 1-866-767-0620. We'll go to break. When we come back, we're going to pick a caller, and we're going to give you the question. You got 10 seconds to answer it. It is a Sports Cage. We're on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. All right. We started this last week. It's trivia for PumpJacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse, corner of Albert and 13th in Regina. Kids allowed till 8. Live entertainment every weekend. And a great place before and after a football game. $50 carried over from last week to this week, so we're playing for $100 today at 936-6262. We're going out. I think it's Chance from Regina that's on the line. Yeah. Chance, are you there? Am I coming in clear?
I'm here. I can hear you loud and clear.
Right on. All right. Here's the question. You got 10 seconds to answer it. Ready, Colson? Here we go. How many times have the Riders finished first in what is now the West Division? 10 seconds.
Oh, boy. I'm going to go with, I don't know, a wild guess. 10.
Close. Very close. Don't worry, Chance. You're walking away with a free lunch from Cathedral PumpJacks. Harry, I'm going to ask you. Do you have a guess? Do you want to take a stab in the dark at it?
8.
It is 8. So, Chance, you were close with 10. Hard to believe in that long of the franchise that we've only finished first in what is now the West Division 8 times. So, Chance, thanks for playing. You get a chance to play next Tuesday out there. It'll be for $150 at PumpJacks Cathedral. $150. You can start planning a wedding reception if it keeps growing here to what we're going to get. They're the corner of Albert and 13th in Regina. Like I said, kids allowed until 8. Live entertainment every weekend. It is absolutely buzzing too before and after Rider games. Rider road game, you can go down there and watch it this weekend. So we'll play again next Tuesday for $150. I would have got that wrong. Someone would ask me that question. I would have said 15. Would have been wrong. 8. I even got the years here. 51, 66, 68, 69, 70. Quite the run there. 76, and then not again until 2009, and then again in 2023. 8 times. PumpJacks Cathedral Trivia will be back next Tuesday. We got for time here, Colson. You said say about a minute and a half. After top of the hour, I know there's people messaged in here. We're going to play Pick the Score starting at 5. So don't bog up the Prairieland Rentals text line until about 5 o'clock. A lot of people intrigued about the Scottie Scheffler interview and pro athletes and all that. I'm sure there's probably a lot of pro athletes that think the same way. They just haven't come out and say it. Now, to Arash's point, I like him being honest. Well, yeah, honesty's good, I guess, sometimes, but it's like, hey, when do I look stocky in this? There's no right answer to that.
But even if he's being honest, what's the result? What does he want to come out of this honesty? Does he want everybody to be like, I just don't understand what his goal was of being honest? I don't like golf, really. I don't care. Okay, what do you want us to do with that information?
It lasts a couple minutes, and then I'm off to the next thing. It's like, yeah, you got to carry your clubs to your 68 Cordoba, throw them in the trunk, no air conditioning, windows down, roll through an Arby's. No, it's not how it is.
Ask a guy who wins the Stanley Cup how long the feeling of euphoria lasts after he hoists that cup, right?
Good point.
Obviously, he doesn't appreciate it enough.
Really good point. Keep the text coming on the Prairieland Rentals text line. Thanks to Chance for playing again on PumpJacks Trivia. Quick break. It is a Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com. It is for Extreme Hockey and Sport in Regina, the local company that's been with you for over the years. They got the new Bauer Flylight gear in right now. Tavon Campbell, Marcus Sales, Roland Milligan Jr. did not practice today for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Coach Mace says he's not ruling them out, though, for the weekend. We'll get a reeval tomorrow. Western Canadian Baseball League, Regina's on the road in Brooks tonight. First place Saskatoon. They're in Okotoks, and Weyburn is hosting Moose Jaw. Major League All-Star Game this evening. If you're thinking of sprinkling there, the underdog, the American League. And they've dominated over the last decade. Also, the over-under 7.5. That is your sports ticker for Extreme Hockey and Sport. Bauer Flylight gear, the skates, the sticks, everything else is in right now at Extreme Hockey and Sport. Quickly moving along here. We're going to go out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Time to talk to Brian Raymond from Flowing Springs Golf Course, the best value in Saskatchewan to golf at. And Brian, tomorrow it's a Wednesday. It's kind of the specials on Wednesday.
Yep, we have a great special on Monday and Wednesday. It's very, very popular. $39, that's all. Just $39 if you're a senior over 60 or if you're a female. Any female, all day long, $39 to come out and play the golf course. And, of course, every day after 3 o'clock, it's $38. After 6, it's $22. But you know what? Our driving range is getting a lot of attention lately. It's been fairly busy, and we're constantly getting new people calling us up and saying, hey, where are you guys? So we're only about 10 or 12 minutes from the north end of the city, and if you're taking the bypass from the south end or the east end, as soon as you come off the bypass onto Highway 11, we're the next exit. You just have to turn left. It's not very hard to find, and we have a huge, huge driving range. No mats, all grass, target greens, distance markers. It's a great place to practice.
And that is the other good thing, too, and I know a lot of people that are thinking about starting golf, or if you want to take your boyfriend out or your girlfriend out or mom or dad or whatever, it's a great judge-free atmosphere. It is so big, and even if someone doesn't have clubs, Brian, can you give them clubs too?
Absolutely. We rent clubs out here all the time. We have rental sets for people who are playing on the golf course, and we have rental sets earmarked especially for the driving range.
Perfect. How do you kind of gave the directions there. It is really close to the city. But if they want to make a booking, they want to find out more, what's the best way?
All they have to do, if you have any questions, you want to make a booking, give us a call at 306-543-5050. And if you're looking at booking a tee time, flowingspringsgolf.com.
Talk to you on Thursday, Brian.
Take care.
Right on Flowing Springs Golf Course. It is, my mom would say, a hop, skip, and a jump just outside Regina. All right, another hour in the books. Harry's going to be back with me. Hour 3, we're going to play Pick the Score, and we're going to start it with Glen Suitor. It is the Sports Cage. We are streaming through YouTube at sportscage.com and always on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Hour 3, back in the show. Harry is with me. Colson's in the pocket. It is for Saskatchewan Lotteries. Thanks to everyone who's been buzzing on the Prairieland Rentals text line at 936-6262. A lot of people are worried about BC this weekend, like Quinn and Saskatoon. Didn't like that. We have some audio still coming up from Coach Mace today and Trevor Harris and an interview with Jackson Ford. But without further ado, let's get to the guy who had an eventful weekend as well, Mr. Glen Suitor.
Time now for press coverage with CFL and Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Glen Suitor on the Sports Cage. Brought to you by Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. 781-2090.
And before we get to Glenn, I got to mention, Colson said we are playing Pick the Score now. SaskTel Pick the Score at 936-6262. Riders and Lions on Saturday. There will be no smoke delay. Glenn, I don't know. What, out of the whole ordeal, what was the craziest story, craziest tidbit that you can share with us that we maybe don't know about?
Okay, I'm going to take you behind the curtain. I don't know the guy's name, but he was wearing a long Saskatchewan green rider jumpsuit kind of thing. And see, once we went off the air, because of the delay and we were going so long, and then TSN said we'll bring in some other programming because, you know, there's only so much we can go to the panel and so much we can come back to the park and talk about the quarterback matchup. I mean, 2 hours of live TV, you're going, okay, guys, like we've broken down this game right down to the wire here.
Hey, do you want to do a 3-hour sports show every day?
Yeah, I know. Exactly. In fact, part way through it, I started messing with the camera. Our number 2 camera, and I got a great perspective of just how difficult that is.
Oof.
Because even, you know, when I was trying to pan and the director was talking to me in the headset and he's saying, okay, just pan the sideline and find a fan that you think is having fun. And I'm looking and he goes, okay, but you can't shake it like that. We'll all be sick. Like, so just doing that and then snap focus and focusing and all that stuff. Anyway, but we had found a guy in Pill Section that I'm telling you what, he had, I would say, on camera. Now, this didn't make it to air, of course. This was just for our internal viewing only. But he must have had 8 to 10 of the full-on beers, one after another, cup, bang, bang, and then big cheer. This was at 10:45 at night, and he had been waiting 4 hours. And I just thought, wow, this guy is gonna just pass out any second. And he kept partying. So I don't, you know, that's some stamina that he knows who I'm talking about right now. If he's listening, he knows exactly who I'm talking about. Full on jumpsuit rider green.
What do you hope the league learned from it? It was new, it was unique, it was different. I'm not being super critical about it. What do you hope though that they learned for the next time?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. One is I really, and this is personal opinion, but I really believe we've got to put a cap on it, like 2 hours. And if it's not right in 2 hours, that's it. We reschedule. Find accommodations for the visiting team and move on. And that was very difficult too because of the country thunder out there. So yeah, so I just think for 2 reasons. One, to keep the fans sort of half knowing what's going on. And again, not necessarily anyone's fault, but the whole line of communication's got to improve that ends in the fans so they know exactly what the possibilities are. In fact, I would start giving the fans the readings. So that readings on that air quality scale, once it gets over 8, the players can't go. And it was at 10. And I think the fans need to know that. I hope that the communication is we're at a 10 now. Weather station in Saskatchewan says the wind is in the right direction. We should get to 6 or 7, which is playable, in an hour and a half. I mean, more detailed information, a 2-hour cap. And honestly, we really shouldn't be surprised. Like this, I know it was the first time, but they have protocol. Not saying it was executed very well, and they also have thought about this clearly because they've looked at future dates where the game could have been rescheduled. So this has been thought of. First time it's had to be executed, and there's lots of room for improvement. Let's put it that way. And I hope they learn, most importantly, in 2 hours, if we can't play, no matter what the weather station's saying or anything, that's it.
Yeah.
Guys, wrap up. Let's reschedule and let's go.
For the Stampeders, does this feel almost like they won 2 road games?
Yeah.
It's got to feel like a little extra jam. Like this win has got to be a little bit more like, yeah, we showed up.
Well, I think so for the one reason that if any team was going to be affected sort of mentally and from a fatigue point of view and all of that, it would have been the visiting team. And especially with Calgary, who I guess I'm sure you guys have talked about, that had to sort of stay at a hotel partly, and part of the team was at the dorms. And, that's a bit of a mess. You can't get into meetings properly and all of those things. So, they had a built-in excuse to not be ready to play, and they didn't. This Calgary team, I keep watching them thinking there's so many young guys out there that they don't even know any better. Like, someone has to tell them they're not supposed to be this good when you're brand new to the league. Like, someone has to inform them of this. Like, look at Damon Elford. Damian Elford was like, forget about just not looking at a place. This guy has some breakaway speed. Now, there was a bust in one of the coverages. I'm not sure if the coach has talked about that, but clearly at his height, Elford can win the jump ball. But what impressed me is in that bust, and I'm not sure which of the DBs made the mistake. It looked like just almost a man concept. But regardless of who made the mistake, when he was in behind for that 80-yarder or whatever it was, he caught the ball and had to be basically stopped when he caught it. So he catches it here. He just basically turns around. He's going backwards for a step, but look at him pull away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some flat-out speed, top-end speed.
Yeah.
No, and I talked about it on Friday with, I think it was Friday or Thursday with Jock Wilson from Calgary. And I was like, yeah, he's a big target. Like, is this one of those guys that we're only going to see in the league for a bit because he's going to maybe get a look south? And there was some broken coverage there in the right. What was the most surprising thing for you about the Riders game in that one?
Oh, that either, okay, 2 or 3, that's an easy one. 2 or 3 reasons for this, possibly. I'm not sure if coach has addressed it yet, but how did they abandon A.J. Ouellette and basically decide that he wasn't going to touch the ball? And people think that when I say that, I'm talking about just running it between the tackles or, running it straight up the middle, and they went away from that. I think the defense can sometimes take you out of that kind of run.
Yep.
But they can't take you out of the quick pitch. They can't take you out of the RPO where the quarterback is riding it off the tackle. You can't take you off a quick screen pass or dump pass. There's a lot of ways to get the ball to your running back. And all you have to do is look at the BC game against Edmonton and how they use James Butler in that game. A.J. Ouellette can do all of those things that Butler did. And they got very innovative on how to use Butler and Buck Pearson, this play calling. So that's what surprised me the most. AJ, with all the success in the previous 3 games, and they were either talked out of it, like because the defense was playing well. They forgot, which that's not really a thing, but I threw it in there anyway. Or they just overthought it and thought everyone's going to be keying on AJ let's go away from AJ and into play action and things before we've established it. It had to be one of those things, and I know they didn't forget, so it breaks it down to one or the other, really.
That's the part that I find so baffling, is that I don't think I've ever seen in a game where it's a blowout early, you abandon the run. But 9 carries in an entire football game that ends up 24-10, I can't even wrap my head around how you just give up on that 50% of your game plan so fast.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when you have Kadeem Carey as your rotation back. I mean, you're talking about 2,000-yard running backs there, and Carey is a screen guy. I mean, you can swing Carey out of the backfield, and now he's like a receiver. Like, again, AJ can do it, but Carey's even better at it. So, I don't think there's really an alibi for this. Let's watch next week, because I bet you they make the correction.
I think I said it to Luke on Monday, and I was like, okay, they're gonna start going to some screenplays here. They're gonna start going to some swing passes to the outside, because if they were given the outside, right, it's like, okay, what's gonna work outside a lot, and they didn't. And we have to give kudos, or as the kids say, flowers, to Calgary, because they stepped up. And I was last week, Glenn, I was skeptical on them. They passed my eyeball test. Now, where do they go from here? We'll see. The West is going to be really interesting. There's no doubt about it. What's your take on Brett Lauther? Honest take.
Here's what I would do about now. And I like Brett, and I've defended him all year. But here's what I'd do if I was Corey Mace. I'd bring in another kicker. And I wouldn't make the change yet. I'd just say, we're bringing in competition, and he's going to be at practice, and you guys are going to go head-to-head every practice. You're going to start next week for sure, and let him allow the pressure there maybe get him back on track. And, again, new holder and all of that, those we're too deep now. We're too far into it now for that to be an alibi or an excuse. So, I've always said competition brings the best out of everyone. You can have speeches, you can have warnings, you can, teammates can talk to you, but you put a guy that the player knows could start ahead of him in the locker room, and all of a sudden it's either he faces the pressure and overcomes it and gets back on track, or he doesn't, and then you have another guy ready to take over anyway.
I think it hasn't been a stellar year. I like Brett as well, but it's not show friends, it's show business. And I think they would have brought somebody in by now. I don't think there's a lot of guys out there. And to the point that we've talked about it on this before, you got to know the stadiums. You got to know the wins. You got to in the league, right? So you got a guy that can do that. Unless I'm sure there's guys out there, and we're going to have some people text in right away. They'll be like, this guy, and this guy. Okay, sure. I think they would have done it by now, but maybe now it is going to be, to your point, we got to bring in at least somebody to push, to challenge. Harry, sorry.
No, that's okay. I feel like we had this exact same conversation this time last year, the three of us talking about Lauther again. And how many times are we going to play this record? And I guess if there is nobody out there, at what point do they maybe consider a trade where you're maybe overpaying for somebody, but it fills in a necessity?
Well, that's a slightly different approach. It's a possibility, but it's a slightly different one in that I think the message from a coach there is we're making a change. So we're going to make a trade. We're going to give up people because we're making a change. I'm suggesting in the next 3 weeks, don't message that you're changing it. Just message that you're bringing in competition. And if this kid is kicking great in practice, you're that close to losing your job. And so now this is what you'll get. You may not get the correction, and he may just be struggling and it's time to make a change, or you'll get the best Brett Lauther and he'll make the field goals and he'll get back on track. And now you still got your veteran who you've told, listen, I'm not pulling you, we're not benching you, but this guy is here now, and we're going to see what he looks like. And it could be a rookie. I mean, no one knew Damian Alford before he had 150 yards. I mean, we knew him, but we didn't know he was that good. So, a young guy doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to be ready. I think it's time to bring in competition.
And it's also like the kids say, pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah. And
so
you know what?
Either he crumbles or he excels.
Yeah, and I expect Brett to fight off that competition and be at his best the rest of the year. I'd expect him to do that. And as a coach, I think that's what you say. Here's the other one, guys. I don't know if you're even going to go here, Barney, or whatever, but the quarterback decisions in Edmonton are bizarre to me. Okay, so in last week, they pulled Trey Ford for Cody Fajardo when he went 8 for 8 and was moving the offense up and down the field. But it was something that they had decided in practice that they were going to do. I don't like that idea. I think it takes a quarterback right out of his rhythm. Doesn't make any sense to me, even if you have a veteran. However, okay, they did that. The next game, Trey Ford struggled big time against the Lions. Couldn't hit like they always say, couldn't throw it in the ocean if you were standing on the beach. So he was clearly struggling. And they left him in there for 3 quarters. Again, what happened to the mentality like baseball? Your top pitcher some nights doesn't have his best stuff. And if he doesn't have his best stuff, you go to the reliever. It doesn't mean you're getting rid of your best pitcher. He'll start the next week or the next day. But he just doesn't have his stuff that night. So you're not breaking a guy's spirit by saying, look, you're not seeing it. We're putting Cody out there. Let's see what he can do the rest of the game for a half. And now what do they do next? Those are the coaching decisions. And it kind of relates to the Lowther thing too.
What do they tell a guy when they pull him if he's 8 for 8 and why? I would want to know why. It'd be a vexing move. How do you justify that to him?
The only thing that I can think of is if it was the coach's son. If it was minor football, hey, we're putting in really, it is. It's a head scratcher. What is going on?
Well, back in the old days, I think the Federic days, that was actually something that happened. So anyway, quarterback son or the owner's son got to play quarterback. Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure. I mean, Mark Killam is a young head coach in that role. So, he's trying to find his way. Clearly, the week before, they predetermined this in practice. They were going to put him out there no matter what the score or what he was doing. You've got a young guy that you're developing, especially if it's, the case of Trey, who was getting better every single game and now is off to his best start of the season at 8 for 8. And you go along with that anyway and make the change. Cody comes out. Now, Cody didn't play bad, and Cody's a veteran, and I like Cody. This has nothing to do with him. And then the next week, it was almost like one of those, mercy pulls of the goalie where you're looking at the goalie going, it's really not your fault, but you're getting bombarded, and we're just going to get you out for your own good.
You out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
I worry about that organization, though. Edmonton. They got nothing going on the football field, and you see what kind of crowd they had. Now they're on a bye this week. Then they come here. God forbid. We know what happened last year when Edmonton was, a dumpster fire, and then they came in here and beat the Riders. It's still but Glenn, I worry about things there, and a lot of people, and you see it on social media, it's like it's the name change. Yeah. Come on now. That's not all because of the name change. I think it's because they're not a very good football team for now, going on almost 2 years, and people are not going to the stadium. I just worry about the Elks.
Yeah, it seems like there is one team like this every year, and that's too bad. I do know their owner is 100% committed and has a lot of money to sort of work with in the early days here in the next few years, for sure. He's been a long time season ticket holder, and
Yeah.
you know, he's got deep pockets. So there's not a concern with that. But, you know, back to the name thing. The name thing has nothing to do with this team struggling. However, when I hear that most of, and again, this sort of rumors behind the scenes stuff, but that most of the Aboriginals discussing this name change that were supposed to be the ones offended by the Eskimos were not. Like most of them didn't think they should make the change. And in fact, they thought it was kind of cool that the team represent. Now, I'm not speaking for everyone, so if you're listening and opposed to that, it's fine. But from what I heard, there wasn't this overwhelming push from that side of the culture to say, we need to make this change. And yet, sort of our woke society caught it. So I know that this is me reading between the lines, but I know that the double E is starting to be sort of displayed more often on the side of the helmets again. It's not those antlers anymore. You know, like, is he going back there? Is he going back there? I don't know. Just throwing it up there.
This is me with a 10-foot pole, and I'm not even touching it. So,
I mean, they don't need a logo. I mean, the Cleveland Browns have gotten by with just being the Browns, right? Just go with the double E's and leave it at that. Washington Football Club. People know. People can read between the lines. People can make their own decisions. Doesn't have to be. They don't have to change the name. They can still be the Elks. But
it's going to be an interesting.
It's kind of like IYK kind of thing.
It's going to be.
The other thing, but Barney, to your point, the name change is kind of like saying that the color of my tie helps to determine the outcome of a game. I got news for all the fans that think that. It has nothing to do with winning and losing. Okay? Nothing. It has to do with me sleepy-eyed at 6 a.m. on my way to a flight grabbing a tie. That's the only thing.
It doesn't have a gravy stain on it.
You getting dressed in the smoke. I don't know. I think it looks good. Okay, we'll catch up on Thursday, buddy.
Okay, thank you guys.
Right on. Glen Suitor and press coverage for Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where they'll treat you right. Perfect service every time. Don't let that air conditioning go down here when it gets hot again next week. Bronco Plumbing and Heating, 781-2090. All right, quick break here. We'll come back. We're going to get some Rider audio and also the Sports Ticker. It is The Cage, streaming at sportscage.com. Riders back in the practice field today. Tavon Campbell, Marcus Sales, Roland Milligan Jr. did not participate. Coach Mace didn't rule them out, though, for the weekend. They were back in pads today practicing. Trevor Harris asked if there was an increased intensity with the pads on today.
Heck yeah. Good for us. You know, shoot. I told you guys at the beginning of the year, you win 4 games. Winning is important, but what's more important is who we're becoming in the process, because toward the end of the year, we're going to be a different team. And we're gonna see Calgary again, and we're excited about that. We're excited to see them again, and someday we will, and we'll deal with that then. But we've got a big test this week at BC. It's gonna be a lot of fun, great environment, and we know that we're gonna need to up our tempo on our game to win this one. They're on a great streak right now. They're playing well.
Western Canadian Baseball League tonight. Regina's on the road in Brooks. First place Saskatoon and Okotoks. Weyburn is at Moose Jaw. And Major League Baseball, it's the All-Star Game this evening. That is a Sports Ticker in Hour 3 for Regina Steelcraft Doors. Made in Western Canada for Western Canada, and they're now in their new 40,000 square foot location. Any door you need, they have it. Harry is with me today. Colson's been in the pocket. We're playing Pick the Score. Don't forget, SaskTel. What is the score? Riders and Lions this weekend, 936-62-62. A chance to win 2 tickets to the next home game and also a $200 SaskTel gift card. Get in on it. We got a few minutes left. Harry, here, I want to play this clip for you. It's Trevor Harris as well. Trevor Harris talking about his takeaways from the loss against Calgary. Yeah.
One of the paradoxes in football is, when you win, a lot of times, mistakes happen, and sometimes you can kind of just be like, hey, we got to get better. But a lot of times we're a little bit more critical, and when it causes a loss, and so sometimes that's a good thing. And shoot, I don't think there's ever been a team. Rob probably can correct me if I'm wrong. Gone undefeated in the CFL, and so it's good for you at some point. You know, you're going to have that. And so I said in the locker room, the only thing this means is we're not going undefeated. You know, that's what Coach May said. And shoot, it's going to be up to us how we respond. And like I said, we've got great championship caliber team in that locker room. And so I expect nothing less from us to come out and get better this week.
The 1948 Stampeders posted an unblemished record of 12-0. 1948. It's been a while. Yeah, I'm looking forward to how the whole team rebounds. But for him in the offense, and there's still some guys injured. There's no doubt about it. Our receiving core is a good team. But how he came out in the second half, like, you can't fault him. Like, it was Brooks and Dunn, brand new man style. The whole offense, they came out rolling. They were taking what they give. The running game, again, I didn't break down tape. We're not coaches, so we don't know. But to your point, why did they kind of abandon it?
It is weird. Like, I can't even. And even if you do go to your 1A guy, which is Kadeem, he got 2 carries. Like, that's not even a sample size. Like, you could give me 2 carries, and then that's it. Like, I don't understand it. I mean, yeah, you can't fault Harris. I mean, I don't think very often you're the offensive player of the week in a losing cause when your team only puts 10 points up on the board and you're the offensive player of the week. So obviously the fault doesn't lie on his shoulders. It's the game plan was so too one-dimensional.
And how do they adapt? How do they change this week? Because football is very copycatish. BC is probably going to look at that tape and go, let's do exactly what Calgary did to shut down this run, especially on first down, not give him anything. Again, I think to the point, and Luke brought it up yesterday, Saskatchewan's offensive line didn't play good. Out physicaled, laid an egg. So then you got big problems if your offensive line is having an off day and you're trying to run the ball, though. So
yeah, the big part of that equation too is, like, okay, let's just say that BC does mimic exactly what Calgary did. Said, hey, that's what we did. Then the onus then becomes on the Saskatchewan coaching staff to say, okay, what did we do that allowed Calgary to do that, and how do we change it so that even if BC does mimic that attack, that we don't get stymied again? We've got to obviously change how we do business. We can't just be like, nah, it's a one-off. We're just going to go with the same scheme that we went last time and hope that it works and hope that BC isn't as effective as Calgary. That doesn't seem to me like to be a very effective way to run an offense. But again, I'm sitting here. I'm not at rider practice on the sidelines barking out orders.
And I got a feeling that this coaching staff, they're grinding. They're like, we can't have this happen again, you know. And maybe it will. Will they only lose one game this year? Probably not. It's probably going to be other ones. I'm worried about it. Coach Mace, if you missed it in hour one, he talked about how a loss can be good for a team.
I think so. Truthfully, I hope so. You know, after you get that, you hope it can be. Yeah, I mean, that deflated, I think, I want to say our ego, but, guys, that one was tough for everybody to kind of swallow. But, it's early in the year. You kind of want to get that out the way. And certainly how they practiced today, I think they understood what we needed.
A loss can be good for a team if they embrace it and take it for what it is, and point it and take it and realize that it points out shortcomings or inefficiencies or ways that they're not doing things. If they just brush it off and say it's a one-off and don't learn from it, then it's not a good thing. It's just the one of many. So it all depends on how they react to that loss.
We're going to see what this team's made up on reaction come this weekend. Still, maybe with some injuries, though, and all that. Is it the full team? Yeah, every team's dealing with injuries, though, so we can't go to that. Hey, if you missed the Scottie Scheffler, just as a professional athlete, interview or comments today at the Open, we're going to go to break. We're going to play a snippet of it and chat about that. It's a real noodle scratcher, to say the least. It's this Cage. We're streaming at SportsCage.com. Some really good and educated texts on the Prairie Land Rentals text line today from people at 936-6262. Thanks to everyone that Darren, Tina, and Quinn were the last ones there. And then we are playing SaskTel Pick the Score, 936-6262. A lot of people taking the Riders. Get in on it. Colson's going to pick someone to win 2 tickets to the next home game against Edmonton and a chance to win a $200 SaskTel gift card there as well. Now, if you missed the Scottie Scheffler, you don't have to be a golf fan, or we're not doing this because it's golf and it's open week, which is super exciting for Harry and I because we both love that tournament. But it's just the pro athlete. Arash liked it because he was honest. I think it's something that he probably should have just stayed away from because now this is going to be a big, what storm. Colson, let's play a snippet of it here.
I think it's kind of funny. I think, I think I said something after the Byron this year about like, it feels like you work your whole life to celebrate winning a tournament for like a few minutes. It only lasts a few minutes, that kind of euphoric feeling. And I like to win the Byron Nelson Championship at home. I literally worked my entire life to become good at golf, to have an opportunity to win that tournament. And you win it, you celebrate, get to hug my family, my sister's there. It's such an amazing moment. And then it's like, okay, now what are we going to eat for dinner? Life goes on. Is it great to be able to win tournaments and to accomplish the things I have in the game of golf? Yeah. I mean, it brings tears to my eyes just to think about, because it's literally worked my entire life to become good at this sport, and to have that kind of sense of accomplishment, I think is a pretty cool feeling. To get to live out your dreams is very special. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not out here to inspire the next generation of golfers. I'm not here to inspire somebody else to be the best player in the world, because what's the point? This is not a fulfilling life. It's fulfilling from the sense of accomplishment, but it's not fulfilling from a sense of like,
oh God, the more I watch it, the more it drives me crazy.
It's not a fulfilling life.
What?
You are so fortunate.
Yeah.
You are damn good, but you're so fortunate. And you know what? Like I said, we're all dealing with mental demons and this and that. It's how you work on it through life and all that. And I don't know anyone, and there's people that lie, that really go, hey, I've liked my job for the whole career. Those retirement speeches that people give are horse, you know what? No, there was days that you were like, man, I hate this place.
What's the point? The point is you had a goal and you achieved it. It's good to set goals and reach for your dreams and achievements. So to say that your goals don't matter because it's going to be a disappointment at the end, because what's the point? It's not what I thought it was going to be. I just can't wrap my head around it. The only way that press conference would have been okay is that if he ended with the sentence, and for that reason, at the end of this season, I'm leaving professional golf and retiring. That would be the only way that would make sense, because it would basically say, I've climbed to the top of the mountain. The view wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I've got other things in my life I want to do and mean more to me, so I'm going to leave the game of golf behind me. Not, I'm going to keep just kind of coming out and playing and not really caring because it doesn't really matter. What's the point? I'm going to keep cashing $1 million paychecks and getting sponsorships and endorsing gear that I don't really care about because I'm not really caring about golf, but I'm still going to play. And
to your point on the other thing, it's like, they don't grind. Like there is the lesser tours where they are grinding and all that, but all the guys that are on the PGA for the most part got it made. Like I didn't win, but I still cashed a $70,000 check for finishing 90th. That doesn't happen in a lot of other places. So maybe the grind is there. The other question that I would like to ask Scottie Scheffler, if you're not inspiring the next generation of golf, which is such a garbage comment. Like, come on, man. You like it or not, you are. Who inspired you? And I would really like to know Scottie Scheffler's now with a lot of these comments. Who was he growing up? And I'm going to look into that tonight. Where did he go? Was he privileged? Did he grind? Did his parents grind? They had 2 jobs. Dad was never there, blah, blah.
Right.
Because it's just like, man, and he is going to have to wrestle this press conference now for a long time. And he's going to backtrack and be like, I didn't mean to say that, I'm not inspiring kids. Well, no, you did. It's exactly what you said, dude.
Yeah, you got to own your words, man. Words matter. You can't just walk it back and be like, "It's not what I meant," or "It's not what I didn't mean it. I didn't say that." Like you did. Those words came out of your mouth. You're a 29-year-old grown man. You have a family. You should be smarter. You have to own the words that come out of your mouth. And again, it makes me sound like an old man, but it's like he's 29. Is it that generation that like I don't, it's not enough, I need more, I'm not getting fulfilled, like I don't know, like I don't, is he just soft? I don't know.
I'm gonna go find myself.
Right. Then retire. I would respect it 150% more if he just said, I'm leaving golf because it doesn't do anything for me, it's not what I thought it would be, I'm out. Mic drop. I
can't wait if you come on next week and what we're talking about, if he's backtracked from this or where we go. It's going to be real interesting.
It's like our Ed Hervey thing all over again.
Yeah. Where are we going? More on the riders. Jackson Ford, heck of a weekend. He made the honor roll this week. So as we throw to the end of the show here, Harry, by the way, thanks for coming on again. As per usual. Love it. Great stuff. Dave Thomas and Jackson Ford here talking about Jackson making the honor roll this week.
Jackson Ford, we'll start with the postponement. Have you ever been a part of anything like that in any shape or form as to what happened on Friday night?
Honestly, no. It was quite the process there. I mean, I feel pretty bad for the fans who came and had to wait, 4 or 5 hours. So that was tough on them. But, just a weird scenario, really.
What was it like in the locker room? Obviously, there's a lot of emotions that you're experiencing when it comes down to the potential of a postponement. But the fans are filled right above you, right?
Yeah, no, we could hear them kind of booing sometimes every time there was a postponement. So, but no, we were just staying locked in, just being ready for the potential chance to come out and put on a show for the fans and play, right? So, yeah, we were just locked in.
You were locked in. Best PFF performance on special teams statistically. What does that mean to you?
I didn't even know that. I just come in, day out, and just do my job to the best of my ability. But I'm happy with the performance. Thought I played well. But obviously we didn't get the W, so lots to work on from everyone.
We talked when you were up in Saskatoon for training camp about how really you were progressing nicely and the tough luck that you had last year, and then right after, boom, more tough luck. How have you overcome that?
Yeah, I've been through it. Right, went through it last year, so I knew what to expect, and at least with this one I was able to play, so that was that makes me happy, and just staying locked in, right? That's it.
You are locked in. You can see it. You're engaged mentally. You're playing at halfback, for example, today. What does this defense need to do to take another step forward? There was a lot of yardage that was given up.
Yeah, we got to clean up the little things, right? When it comes down to playing defense, it's the little things. So we just got to pay attention to those little details and just work as a unit.
I asked Micah Johnson if the sky was falling after dropping a game and falling to 4-1. Is it?
Absolutely not. I've never been on a team that's been undefeated. So, no, the sky's not falling. It was an off day, obviously, and we're gonna reload for next week.
So how do you reload against a team that you played just a couple of weeks ago? Easier, harder to prepare for?
Well, they're 2-0 in their last 2 games. They look a lot better than when we played them. So we just got to lock in and make sure we're watching lots of film and clean up those MAs that we had last game.